Okay, some people still rolling in the door, so it's 6 o'clock, so we're going to get started here. And tonight is something very special for those just arrived. This is the 100th episode of what's usually our members-only Ask Sean sessions. What we do every week, we do a little kind of closed-door session where we give away, basically I talk about different strategies, things going on in the industry, inside information, what's happening behind the scenes, not only in our business, but in other businesses and things that you need to know. And tonight is I'm very, very excited. I'll be quite honest. This being our 100th episode is something of an amazing feat for me because, first of all, I have the world's worst ADD. Me being able to concentrate for about an hour and a half to 2 hours once a week is a miracle. Doing it 100 times, that's just amazing. What we're going to do tonight, I'm going to share with you a strategy that has made me a ton of money. It's the very formula I use that's made me basically hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm going to give you the exact formula. And when I've taught this in boot camps and in closed-door sessions, students have paid $5,000 to attend these and get these strategies. So tonight I'm going to do something very cool. I'm going to give this to you absolutely free of charge. Now tonight is something also very cool. When we do Ask Sean sessions, like I say, this is no pitch. This is just 100% free content. It's just by way of saying thank you for being part of our success, because I'll be quite honest, without you guys, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be where I am and have the success I have, and I've helped many, many of you achieve great success as well. So this is, this is fantastic. I love being able to teach this stuff and show you exactly how I do business and how you can do the same thing. So with that being said, again, I'm still seeing people rolling in the door here, so we're going to get started. We are recording this. Usually this is a closed door, members only, and we have a lot of our inner circle members here this evening, so wanted to give them all a shout out as well. But we have opened this up to everyone just to join the party. And hey, what's better than a huge party? So what we're going to do is we're going to cover some strategies. I'm going to give you some inside information, some interesting stuff happening in the world of IM. We're going to go over the strategy that is basically a 6-figure business model. And then I'm going to open it up to live questions. Now, we've got so many people here. Usually when I do the closed door sessions, we go through quite a few questions and answers, but we've got so many people here, there's probably not a chance of me being able to answer everyone's question, but I'll do my best. We'll see what we can do, and if there's lots of crossovers, hey, we'll rock and roll. So anyway, when we have our closed door sessions, we usually do a lot of things with what we call it has become known as the, one second, cancel that. I was almost stopped the webinar there. That's not going to be good. But we have the infamous chalkboard of doom. Basically what I do is I do lots of diagrams and things like that. So let me just Photoshop is not cooperating here. So, okay, there we go. That's better. So what we're going to do first of all, I guess, is let's start with what's happening in the industry. Now, as some of you may or may not know, well, actually, a lot of you guys here this evening probably have a copy of our Loki Link Builder. We released this like a month ago, and we've also been working on some updates and some cool things. We actually just released version 1.03 today. So if you have been following the emails, go to the Loki Link Builder website, log into your account, download the latest copy, and watch the install and update videos. And we've basically split things into 2 methods. Basically, there's the simple approach, which is basically just get started, install it, set up the feed, promote it, and we cover that in detail. And then we've got the advanced techniques for people who want just a little more power. So we've kind of made it a little more simple. We've made the upgrade process a little simple. We've done some internal tweaking, speed tweaks, and things like that. But I've got some bad news. Now, that's a great way to start a party, I know, with the bad news. But yesterday, HelloText, which is one of the services we were using to distribute content for the advanced techniques, announced they're going to shut down. And this is absolutely blooming ridiculous. Just one of those things you just cannot control with a third-party site. But they did a good job, but they did have some flaky, weird stuff. For example, they stopped giving out API keys about a year ago. Their link shortening service doesn't work. Their plugin doesn't work, and a few other things. But we figured a way around it for Loki, and it was working fine with the latest updates and email posting and stuff like that. It was working fine. Now they've announced they're going to shut down. It's a pain in the butt, but there's ways around this. HelloText, well, basically this happened, funnily enough, back in the Backlink Booster days, if some of you guys remember that product we put out. Ping FM recently got bought out by Seismic. Seismic then shut down the service, and that was like 2 months ago, 3 months ago. And the same is happening here. Basically, they're under new management. They then kind of, I'll be quite blunt, treated the programmers like absolute crap. And then the programmers turned around and said, okay, fine, laters. They walked out and basically left the new company with code they cannot maintain. They have no idea how it works. It's all very, very complicated, and now the new company is left with nothing. Now, it's a great site. It has a lot of potential, but yeah, they're shutting down on August 7th. So what can you do? Well, again, I love link sharing. What I do is, and let me go back to the infamous chalkboard of doom here. What I do with all of my sites, even my blogs and everything else on Loki, is based on the same principle. What I do is all of our money sites, and any site you want to promote has an RSS feed, which stands for Real Simple Syndication. The cool thing with this is you can use this for massive link building. So what I tend to do, even with just my standard feed, I'll take an RSS feed, I'll submit it to the directories, and excuse my dyslexic handwriting, I will social bookmark it, and then I will send it out to what I'm going to call a syndicator, SYN here. And what this does, it will send it out then to like 30 plus social networks, social bookmarking sites and everything else. We did use Ping FM, we did use HelloText, but now I've got, I've moved away because, although HelloText is free, and it's great, it was great, but one thing I've always advocated for is some of the paid services out there, first of all, they have revenue and a proven business model, which means they have developers they're going to pay, they have lots of paid customers, so they've got to satisfy those paid customers. And I'll tell you what, whenever you've got a business, people are going to treat paid customers a lot better than free customers. Free customers are not worth anything to a business unless they're clicking on ads. And HelloText has no paid business model. That's the problem. That's why Ping FM went down. That's why HelloText went down. However, I use two services to do this. And I use OnlyWire and Links Alpha. Now, here's the thing. Both of these are paid services. They have some subtleties and differences, and you can do this dirt cheap. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do this right now before we jump into the main content. See, you guys get so much value when you're a member of the inner circle. It's incredible. I've got my fingers in so many pies, it's actually scary. So I'm going to share with you a lot of cool stuff this evening. So let's go. Okay. One of the free services you can use is Postgres. Okay, this is a free alternative. It's been recently acquired by Twitter. However, they do allow you to do free syndication. So that's one alternative. And if you're using Loki, you can post to this no problem at all. Let me just see if I've got one of my accounts I was using for testing. Now, again, I'm not sure if that's the right one. I'm guessing here because I was doing this on my other computer for my development station. I'll give this a shot. Hopefully I'll log in. And okay, here's one. So I'm going to go to Reader. And you can see here's some posts going to some of my test posts that I was doing from Loki, and this is posted by email. So, and just to show you as well, this is one of the cool things about Posterous. They do follow links all the way to your different things. So I'll go here, show the full post. You can see there's a do follow link back to a shortened URL and stuff like that. That's one of the things we do. So that's Loki in action, so to speak. But the cool thing is with this, if I come back to the dashboard, actually come here, and I have to remember the settings here. I think it's in, oh yes, auto post setup. And you'll have to excuse the phone. This is just to show we're doing it live, so if you hear dogs barking and phones going off, that's why. But you can set up and post to Facebook, Twitter, Typepad, WordPress sites and stuff like that, and set up multiples. So Blogger, Tumblr, Typepad, Movable Type, other blog systems, Flickr, YouTube. Fantastic. So, you know, and I'm not sharing my screen. Is that what the phone call was about? Okay. You know, and I couldn't see that. So who was that? Jim. Okay, Jim, you're a rock star. Bloody hell. Okay. So just to show that we're live, now you can see my screen. You can, Jim, you're a rock star. Thank you so much. And unfortunately, I can't see the questions because I have so much going on. Guys, I do apologize. Let me back up. Okay, so. Okay, so backing up. Here's the diagram I just drew. So your money site, RSS directories, social bookmarking sites, a syndicator, and then promoting up. That's basically where we got to. So you heard the audio, that's the visual. Jim, I tip my hat to you and I'm going to send you lots of cookies. In fact, Ted, we're going to order in a big, like 2 tons of chocolate chip cookies. So anyway, this is posting to Posterous. Okay, you've got to love live sessions. Okay, I wish I had the excuse that I had a drink in front of me. I don't. Just too many windows, I guess. So anyway, so this is Posterous, and if you want to set it up, just come up to your main area, Spaces, click on your space, come to Auto Post Setup, and you can add a service as you see fit. Blogger, Tumblr, and everything else. So with that being said, let me close this. The other service I use is OnlyWire. Now I've just set up a free account here, and you can set up a free account on both Links Alpha and OnlyWire just to test the setup and see how it goes. Now the thing is, I am lazy. I'm going to be quite honest. I don't want to set up all of the sites that these guys support. So what I do is I'll go to Fiverr.com and I'll pay someone to create an account for me, maybe for like $5, and they'll create me an OnlyWire account with, let me just actually do this real quick. Verb, and close the, okay, wrong window, and let's do this. I'll go to Fiverr.com and do a search for OnlyWire as an example. And then these guys, for example, will set up 2 fully configured OnlyWire accounts with 30 networks for $5. That's awesome. And one thing when you're getting someone from OnlyWire, I always check to see how many, what's their rating? Okay, 97%, that's pretty good. I want to see how many positive reviews they've got. 5 negatives, 141 positives. I'll go with that. Anything above 95, that's cool. And these guys will also humanize your accounts, which I recommend, which is adding a profile picture and stuff like that. So that's all cool. And they will also do the same for OnlyWire. So when you, for Links Alpha, should I say. So when they do that, you get that as a free account, fully configured, but you have a limited number of posts. Then you just upgrade. Now here's the cool thing. If you want to see how many accounts it supports, just come to services, this also will do social bookmarking fully automated for you. And that is worth its weight in gold. So it'll post to places like Bibsonomy, Delicious, let's see, Digo. They did support Dig as well at one stage, but that's kind of, that website just went kind of weird. Google Plus pages, Google Plus. They will also, lots of other sites as well, like LiveJournal, LinkedIn, Links to Go, Mr. Wong, and Multiply, Plurk, Reddit, StumbleUpon. So the cool thing is a lot of these require captures, and most services don't support these because of the capture solving. These guys support capture solving. Now here's the cool thing. You can post 1,000 posts a month for $10, and then it's like $3 for the capture solving part of it. It's worth its weight in gold. And I love doing this. I'll actually set up many of these accounts, but that kind of cost can mount up. So, if you want to keep it simple, just do one of these, and then you can upgrade it and do what you like. So, for example, I'll change a plan, and the plans allow you to do different levels of posts per month. For example, $10 a month, it's really nothing, but if you want to do like 2,500 posts a month or 5,000, it's like $30 and then 15 for the capture solving. It's great. It's really not that bad, but 1,000 a month is going to suit most people, and unless you've got lots and lots of sites you're promoting, don't go crazy. Keep it simple, keep it about 1,000, and you'll do fine. Links Alpha works in a slightly different way. Okay, let me close that. Links Alpha, I've got just one account posted here at the moment, but you can set up with the paid version of this. The free version is limited, but the paid version allows you to support about 200 accounts, which means you can add multiple Blogger accounts. You can add multiple Delicious accounts, Digo accounts, and lots of the other ones it supports, like WordPress. You can support Yahoo, Meme, Yammer, Socialcast, Posterous, all these really cool accounts. And then, again, you can add multiples of that. So you can add multiple Blogger accounts. You've just created yourself an instant private blog network. And that's how, a lot of the things we do. But they allow you to do 200 accounts and 10 different feeds or networks. So I do like news feeds. Then I will add, actually, come over here, my bad. So come to Publisher, add a website, and then I'll just add an RSS feed. And then I set it and forget it. It's really that powerful. Now, if I come to this website, again, I just set this up just beforehand here. It's $4.99 a month. That is dirt cheap. And then you can set up 200, as I say, different accounts, 10 different websites, and you can do 4,000 posts a day. That's incredible. That allows you to do a hell of a lot on a very small budget. So you can do a lot with that. You could have 200, well, you could have 10 sites feeding into this one account, going to a network of 200 sites, doing 4,000 posts a day if you wanted to, for $5 a month. That's a cup of coffee. That to me is a no-brainer. So very much worth it. And again, you can also get people to create your accounts for you. Just do a search. There was one I saw earlier on, Links Alpha. I actually have a bot that I wrote that creates these ones for me. But there is one guy here that will do it. You just tell him, hey, can you go create me one for, he supports OnlyWire, Links Alpha, Social ADR, which is a paid service. They were offering a free one. We'll have to see about that. And Posterous accounts as well. He will set them all up for you. He's got an 83% gig rating, so but he's only got 5 people. So I say that's a little early days yet. He's got 5 reviews, 1 negative review, and to be quite honest, that was done a month ago, and I'm not seeing a lot of people taking this up. But then again, I don't think this guy's advertising very well. So I would go check it out. Well worth it. Have a look and see what you can do. So there you go. That's how to get some great traffic. Now, and a replacement for Hello Text. Now, a couple of other things going on before I get into the main content. You see, we cover so much here. So like I say, some cool stuff coming at you here. The other thing going on right now is, and this is for Facebook marketers, something I came across yesterday, but very interesting. Facebook seems to have a bot problem. Now, this is some accusations that have been leveled at them before, but I came across this article and I thought I'd mention it real fast. Facebook has been accused of basically faking ad clicks. Now, there's a few companies are leveling a lot of accusations that are spending a lot of money on Facebook ads, and they're only able to verify 20% of their links. A lot of the ad clicks seem to be basically unverifiable. In other words, suspicious, which is very interesting as far as I'm concerned, because I do a lot of advertising there. Now, the thing with that is, if you imagine that you're spending $1,000 and that only $200 of your ad spend is valid, that's going to upset you. So, with that being said, what can we do about that? What can be done? Well, first of all, Facebook's come back and said, well, that 80% of those, those clicks that we can't track and can't verify, those browsers don't have JavaScript enabled, which is complete BS. The amazing fact with that one is that it is less than 5% of the active market with browsers that has JavaScript disabled. So if it was 5% that couldn't be verified, that's tolerable. That's fine. But if they're saying 8% can't be, 80% can't be verified because they've got JavaScript disabled, that's BS. So what I'm going to do is in the chat box, guys, I'm going to share you that link. It might be something to look at later. So let me just put that in there. I'm going to put that to the entire audience. So there you go. Anyway, and yeah, there's a few different ways to take care of it. There's things you can do. I do all sorts of bouncing and around stuff like that. But there's all sorts of different ways to advertise on Facebook. But if you're doing cost per click, be wary of that. I do cost per impression a lot of the times, which is CPM, and I do a lot of tracking of links and stuff like that and verification. And I actually nail Facebook on a few different things to get going. So anyway, that's a couple of things happening in the industry. But what I'm going to do now is let's get into the core, the meat and potatoes of tonight's presentation. And what I'm going to do, guys, is share this with you. Okay, this is basically simple six-figure webinar creation. I'm going to show you literally how to create amazing webinars that you can sell your products like crazy from, that people absolutely adore and love and can put tens of thousands of dollars in your pocket almost immediately. Now that sounds like a huge claim, and don't worry about it. That's cool, because this is what I do every single day. So what I'm going to do is show you a very, very simple formula, and this formula is what I do to make a ton of money online. I'm literally going to give you my business, or part of my business model, on a silver platter. Now the thing is, people overcomplicate selling online, and it's a strange thing. It's not that difficult, and people make it a lot more difficult. It's really hard to think, okay, a lot of these gurus out there, they're showing, oh well, you can't succeed without my shiny new system, my click button millionaire thing. You know what? Selling online is very simple, and here's the formula in a nutshell. Solve a problem, find people with a problem, give them the solution. That's it. It's the same if you're selling offline as you do online. The method is different, but it's literally as simple as that. Now, the other thing is, people tend to underprice their knowledge and information. If you've got knowledge that no one else has, it's invaluable. I'll give you a prime example of this. Say, for example, I've got, oh, I don't know, let me think of a celebrity. Say I've got Britney Spears' cell phone number on a piece of paper. The intrinsic value of that piece of paper is nothing. It's a few cents. However, the information on that is worth a fortune to maybe, I don't know, college kids or something like that, college boys. and who want to, call Britney Spears. They would pay hundreds of dollars for that piece of information. So if you get the right information into the right hands, you can do absolute wonders. So think about this, and I'll give you another example of where people are underpricing their information. If you go on the Warrior forums, for example, and we've all bought WSOs there, they're dirt cheap. I've seen WSOs selling for $5, and people hoping to make a fortune from that. Guys, I would sell products all day long at $197 to $500, and $197 product. I would have to sell. Let's keep it simple. Say it's a $20 product on the WSO forums or the Warrior Special Offer forums. I would have to sell 10 products for the equivalent of one sale of one of my other courses. It's a lot less hassle to sell a lot higher priced product than it is a lot smaller price tag. So, I mean, a lot of my products are vastly more expensive than my competitors. The reason being is that I want to focus on quality and everything else, and make sure that first of all, you separate a lot of the different customers. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. A lot of people say, well, if you sell at a cheaper price, you're going to get more sales. Yeah, but you work a lot harder for your money. So what I like to do is I will literally double the price. And I'll give you another analogy. We used to have a website design business. This was a long time ago now, probably I have to say about 10 years ago, when I first met my wife. And she was running the business. She was doing great work, and I saw how hard she was working for the money, how she worked like a banshee, okay? And the problem was that we got phone calls for a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and with the number of clients we had, I realized that we were doing so much work, we couldn't really bill for the hours. It was like 5 minutes here. You're not going to charge for 5 minutes. So I basically doubled our hourly rate. Literally, I just decided, you know what, to heck with this, let me try something here. And I doubled our hourly rate. My hourly rate at that time was $200 an hour. My wife's rate was $100 an hour. And guess what? Yes, we lost some clients. They couldn't afford us anymore. However, the ones and the phone calls stopped. However, we made double the money. And it was incredible. So even on our packages of websites, I doubled and even in some cases tripled the prices. Guess what? People still bought them and loved them and were much happier because they felt they were getting much more service. And you know what? When you're getting triple the money for the same thing, guess what? You're more than happy to help them. So it's a win-win situation. And one thing is, as a perception we're all trained with is more money equals more value. And we're getting much better quality and everything else. And if you present yourself in the right way and, again, increase your prices, people will absolutely love you for it. And I'll tell you right now, I can take a $1,000 product and I can sell it on stage in a closed room for $5,000. And I'll add some extra things in there. But basically, when you're raising the prices, people are much more likely to buy. And it's an incredible, incredible thing. So I'm going to share with you right now how you can create an instant six-figure product. And you know what, guys? I'm going to do a couple of things here. I just want to see a show of hands, because this is one thing we do a lot as well. I want to see if you guys will see right next to your name on the GoToWebinar stuff. And oops, I'm doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and this is where I break the screen. If you could, just do me a favor. Raise your hands if you would like to see how to create a six-figure product almost instantly and start profiting almost immediately, okay? Or type in the question box, yes, if you would find that valuable. Okay, I'm realizing that, okay, beautiful. Lots of yeses. That's awesome. Okay, good. So yes, I'm going to show you literally right now how you can instantly create a six-figure product. Good, awesome stuff. I'm glad that you guys are here. I want to make sure, because I want to make sure you guys are getting value out of this. Okay, so Here's what we do. Instant six-figure products. First of all, find something you can teach over 6 to 8 weeks. And what I mean by this is break something down. Like if you've got a skill, you've got a piece of knowledge or a solution to a problem, find a way to break it down into 6 to 8 step-by-step methods, step-by-step steps. Break it down, and for example, if I was going to show you how to get more traffic, then what I would do, in fact, if I was doing this, here's a prime example. If I was going to teach you how to do 6-figure webinars, I could break this down into 6 one-hour sessions and put it together in a training program. Now, here's the beautiful thing. Break whatever you're doing down into 6 to 8 sessions, and you're going to teach this live to a group who sign up. So what you can do is you can work in advance. You set up a sign-up page for a webinar that you're going to create. Then you set up a simple members website. You can, and we'll talk about that in a few moments in a little more detail. And then basically you get people to sign up, pay you up front for the solution to the problem. Now, say for example, you're in, say, weight loss. What you could do is create, and I like going for big niches with lots of people in them. I don't go after micro niches when I'm doing this. This is a big niche thing. So, say for example, over 6 weeks, I want to break down 6 ways, or how you can start losing weight and maybe lose weight, you're 30 pounds in a month, and keep it off and stuff like that. And maybe I'll break that down over a 6-week period. So I'll find a strategy that I can break down. I might even go, I mean, honestly, you could go to break down an existing product, maybe even a PLR product or a master resale rights product. Use that for inspiration. Break it down into 6 chunks, expand upon it, and you have a $197 instant product. Because here's the thing, when you teach live to a group, it's perceived as an incredible value. And all you need is something like a GoToWebinar account, exactly what I'm doing right here. Now, many of my workshops follow this exact format. And I will do a workshop where I break something down over 6 weeks, and I will teach it live. I will do a webinar, get people to sign up for this live training, and then I haven't even created the product. The product is created live as I go. Now think about this. You can then get your webinar, get the, well, I'll show you that in a few moments, get your initial sign-ups. And then one way you can lead into this is, and this is for people who have products already, because we've got a few product creators here, is you can feed into this from other products. Maybe you have a $17 or a $47 program, and then you can pump people into your webinar for this extra training. Or you've got a free training or a free report, and then once you've built your list, you can pump them into this free training. People love a free training webinar and then expanding on that training. And then what you do is, as you go along, you can actually record these sessions and then put them in your members area. So your members get a replay, that's great. But guess what? When you've completed your 6-week training session, you've got all these recordings, and guess what? You now have a full 100% autopilot business, because now you can put everything on autopilot, re-release it as a done product, and drip feed those modules back to any new members as they sign up. So as people come in, they get module 1 in the first week, module 2 in the second week, and stuff like that. But instead of being live training this time, it's recordings of the live training, and by this time you could have had transcripts done and PowerPoints and everything else, resources, whatever else you've got going on. But now you have that evergreen high-ticket product, and you did it instantly. And the ideal price for this is about $197 to $497. And I've worked with both price brackets. Each one's converted equally well, but you've got to think about your content and your market and what's kind of tolerable. But $197, I could sell those all day long in any market. So let me show you this process in a nutshell. So you get sign up webinar. In fact, let me just see if I've got a pen here. Okay, so okay, so let me go back. I'm not used to doing it on this one, so let me see. Pen color, red. Okay, pen. Okay, so you have your sign up webinar, which is what we'll show you in a few moments. You take payment, and you know, one of the easiest ways to do this is with a system called JVZoo. And very easy, it integrates instantly with PayPal. The cool thing is that allows you to do a lot of great signups and have a JV program. We'll talk about that in a little more later on. Then set up a simple members area. For that, I use WordPress and OptimizePress, which is a great launch theme. And that allows you to do squeeze pages, sales pages, and set up a members area. With GoToWebinar, you can record the sessions. So that's automatically done for you, and you can then convert those and then just add the replays into the members area. So once you're done, boom, that's it in a nutshell. And you need a simple members area. You also need a a members system, and I use Wishlist Member, and I'll show you those in just a moment. And once I'm done with this course, I can then set it up to an automated webinar system, which then takes payment. I drip feed the videos. And I can put that all on autopilot and make tens of thousands of dollars every single month. And if I get a suite of these going, you can imagine how much you can profit from that, because I'm all about scale and automation. So let me just stop this 1 second, because I want to show you, let me come over here, some of the tools I use. And this is some of the other tabs I had up here. Let me close this. So GoToWebinar, you can actually get, if you're ready to go with this, get all your prep work done in advance, you can actually get a 30-day demo of this. And if you go on 100 seats, it's like $99 a month. Or if you know someone who's already got an account, then you know, you can do a lot more. When you first start, you probably will be about the 100 to 500. It's kind of expensive, but if you sell one product at $4.97, you've covered it. So it is kind of expensive, don't get me wrong, but it's well worth it. Or maybe if you know someone who's got a GoToWebinar account, you can rent the space or ask them for a favor and get started. But like I say, you have 30 days to get going with this and do a trial for 30 days. And okay, insider secret, I have to find the link. I might put this in the inner circle, but there is a way with an upgrade license to get from basically a deactivate your account and then upgrade to the 1,000-seat license for $79 a month. It's a very insider secret. I have the 1,000-seat license. I don't pay $500 a month. I pay $79 a month. And that's pure gold. Now, if there's anyone from GoToWebinar on here right now, I'm probably going to be in big trouble for sharing that, but I'm going to try and find that link, and I'll put that as a very special covert link in the inner circle. So you can do that, and then OptimizePress is one of the systems I use. I use this for pretty much everything. And a lot of my courses run off this, and this allows you to do full sales funnels, launch funnels, pre-launches, squeeze pages, and members area all in one shot. And then I also use a tool called Wishlist Member. This allows me to do direct integration with GoToWebinar for signups, but you can use S2 Member, which is free, and that integrates very well with JVZoo. And again, JVZoo is free as well. And this allows you to do instant payments to your affiliates if you set up an affiliate program. What I do with this, just so you know, is I will set up a 50-50 split, but I will make my workshop and webinar private. And what happens then is you don't get everyone trying to join your program, but you can then invite people in that you speak to who want to JV with you, give them a private link, approve them, and you do your launch together. You might do it as a live webinar or as part of the automated process. Either way works very well. And then later on, I'll use something like Auto Webinar Player, which is one of my favorite tools. I use this for auto webinars, and it's really quite economical. The price for this, I think it's like $79 a month. The basic one allows you 500 connected users at a time, 10 unique webinars, and 300 webinars in a month. So you can have it recurring. $97 a month, that's actually really good. I use this program, which is $297 a month, but I've actually got something very special in regards to this, which I'm going to do as a workshop with Joel Peterson, who created this, and I'll share that with in the Inner Circle session very soon. Now, another thing I use, which is very cool, a lot of our webinars are based on PowerPoint. In fact, that one you just saw me running through was a PowerPoint presentation. Now, what I do is I'll come to graphicriver.net and get a template that's already done for me. So you can look $1 million on a zero budget, basically. So I might look at something that stands out from the crowd, looks professional, and can work very well. So let me have a look. I want to find something that is relatively plain but pops. Let's have a look at minimal PowerPoint here. Okay. Now this is only $12, but you get a preview of some of the stuff it does. You can see lists and things like that. It has lots of graphical elements and things like that, so you can rip that apart in PowerPoint. It's not a very good one, actually. Let me see if I can find something else. That's not bad. I look for something that stands out. So blues on whites engender trust. There's some good list stuff here. If I pop this up, I can see previews of what they do, and I can see that as good bullet point list, things like that. So you can get someone, you can actually, and here's another cool little tip for you as well. You can do your webinar very basically and then send it to Fiverr and have someone format it for you and touch it up. It's absolutely cool, but we'll get to the webinar side of things right now. So let me pull up my presentation again. So, okay, you know what, before I do, let me ask a quick question. Are you guys getting a lot of value out of this? Is this valuable to you? I want to see make sure everyone's enjoying this. I want to make sure you're learning something from this. Okay, awesome, excellent. Okay, some people say that the presentation is too small. You know what? Give me 2 seconds, guys. Here, I want to make sure we've not got any technical issues. So let me just go back here and pop this up. And come here. Okay, I've got another screen. Let me just give me 2 seconds, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, so I had to run across to my studio. It's one of the benefits of having a laptop recording this. I see what's happening. Bear with me 2 seconds. What it's doing is when I switched across, it went and showed 2 different setups, which is what it's going to do every time I do this. So, okay. Gotta love technical issues. Okay, I'm just going to check again. That should be good, but let me just double check. Is that better, guys? And check the laptop. Okay, good. Sorry about that. One of the problems of using PowerPoint. Okay, so anyway, the beauty of this system is that you could do a heck of a lot with it. One of the things I like is you get paid to do before you create the product, and that's absolutely amazing, and the value of live is much higher to customers. In fact, even though we're having technical issues right now, I'm sure if this was a pre-recorded thing, you guys would be like, oh my good grief, what the heck. But this is live. You're getting live time with me right now, so I'm sure you guys think, okay, this guy's a goofball, but we're live, we're able to interact with someone at my level. And that, again, if you know a lot more than your audience, you're suddenly an expert. The very cool thing is, like I said, this is very easy to clone the system again and again. Once you've got one set up, all you have to do is clone it, install it on a new system with a new domain, set up a new webinar, and you're ready to go again. And like I said, this is very easy to bolt on to any product or list and create massive authority with your market. Now here's the thing. A lot of people don't realize that there really are 5 levels of marketing success. There's the new marketer, someone who's creating like the $17 product, and they're kind of bottom end, and there's a lot of low quality because they don't have the design skills, or they've got knowledge but they don't have the design skills to put everything together, or graphic skills. And don't get me wrong, there are some great products out there at $17 that look fantastic, but in general, your average $17 product is a very small piece of information, not much design and quality behind it, and it can leave a bad taste in your mouth. Then there's the people who create $47 to $97 products, and that's stepping up in quality. Then you've got the $197 to $4 to like $1,000 products, and then you've got people who sell, like I do, $1,000 to $5,000 to $10,000, even $100,000 products. You might think, who on earth would pay $100,000? I'll tell you right now. I've got people who pay me a lot of money, $50,000 to $100,000, for one-on-one coaching and basic mentoring a year. Now you imagine that. That's where some people want to get there. Okay, some people are just happy with an extra $500 in the pocket a month. There's nothing wrong with that at all. An extra $10,000 in your pocket a month, that's good. That's great. That'll make a massive life-changing difference to many people. If you could do an extra $50,000 to $100,000 a month, you're heading for millionaire status. So there's a lot you could do with this, and that's, having a product like this in your arsenal gives you massive authority. And the cool thing is, once you do that, you can attract powerful JVs, because JVs are interested in money. So if you have something that's going to pay them $100 per sign-up, or if you're doing a $500 product, split it 50-50, $250 in their pocket, they're going to be paying attention, especially if you have something that converts. But the power is in the webinar. And creating a webinar is very simple. Like I say, all you need is PowerPoint, which I'm using here on the Mac, or Keynote, which is another Mac program, but PowerPoint works on both PC and Mac if you have Microsoft for Mac, basically Microsoft Office for Mac. And that's what I'm using here. But the cool thing is, what I'm going to show you right now, like I say, students often pay about $5,000 to learn this at different boot camps I've done, and this is the exact formula I teach at those boot camps. Now, this is an entire weekend's worth of training condensed into like an hour to an hour and a half, so you'll have to bear with me, okay? We're going to compress this as much as I can, so take notes, because this is going to come at you fast. And I'm going to be quite honest, this very formula is responsible for much of my success. This is how I've sold literally hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of products. And I'll be quite honest, with the 100th anniversary here today, it's my absolute pleasure to share this with all of you here today. Now, the main webinar elements, what you need for a successful webinar. You need a brief introduction, basically what you're going to show them and who you are. You need to establish credibility and tell them what they're going to learn, what's in it for them. We're all very self-centered creatures, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially in this industry of like I am, for example, with so much bombarding of bullcrap out there. We want to make sure, hey, is this going to be a complete waste of our time, or are we going to get something out of this? And is it something I can use in action? So you want to make it right up front. Hey, you're going to get some very cool stuff right now. This is what we're going to cover. This is the benefit to you, not the features, the benefit. You want to tap right into your market's target desires, okay? What is their driving emotion? What do they want? If they've got a website that's been slapped by Google, guess what? They want to get their rankings back. They want to get more traffic or an alternate. or a way to combat penguin. You want to address those problems right up front. Next, you want to actually give them the value content. And I say value content. Most people, when they're doing webinars, and this is one thing I see a lot of people make a mistake about, or a mistake with, should I say, is that they give content, but they don't give value content. They give some sort of very vague notion of something you're meant to do, but they don't give you any actual useful stuff. And I can't tell you the number of times I've been speaking on stage in front of like 500 to 1,000 people, and the guy before me has nothing to say. And then people are like, oh my God, they're falling asleep, they're facing their hands, they're doodling on their notepads or surfing the internet. And then I've got to step on stage right after these people. Now, I always, whenever I stand on stage, I always give value. I always give something they can use, some actionable content. And it's amazing how quickly the audience will wake up. So that is very powerful. Then the next thing is, after you've done your value content, you've got to move to the transition. And this is the transition. The transition is very important. Everything's got to be seamless and practice. So the transition moves to the pitch, and the pitch is basically what the actual product or service you're offering is. And then we go to the close, which is the call to take action. In other words, what you've done is, here's who I am, here's what I'm going to show you. Then you show them, and then you say, basically, in a nutshell, now here's how you can improve upon it, here's what I'm offering, and here's why you need to get it, and then get it. And that's as simple as that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to break down each section into basically the different elements. So make sure you've got a pen and paper here, because this is, like I say, this is the gold formula right here. And I have trained, I would say, about 2,000 people on this very technique. And many of them who have applied this in their business, being online, offline, and everything else, have seen massive, massive success. So literally, this formula is the simplest way to make a ton of money with webinars. So starting off, we look at the introduction. And the introduction should be about 5 to 10 minutes. And, you know, I try and keep it about 5 minutes, and I want to answer one question. What is in it for them? Okay? What is in it for them? They've got to understand right off the bat, what we're going to do is show you how to cure your acne naturally and get the best skin of your life and what have you, whatever your product is. Now, again, you can use this formula on, like I said, the 6-step instant product, or maybe you've already got a product that you want to sell through a webinar. You've got to say right up front, what is in it for them? What are they going to learn today? You don't start with a pitch of your product, but you want to give them something they can do right now. And I like to give them something, as I say, they can do as soon as they're done on the webinar. Now, here's the thing. Not everyone is going to buy, okay? If you could have 100% webinar conversion, you're a rock star, okay? I should be learning from you. You're going to get a small percentage that are going to buy. However, what you do by giving them massive value and giving them something they can do right now is you're going to create massive trust and credibility with your market. A lot of people don't realize this. They just want the sales, and anyone who doesn't buy can go away. They don't care. It's not the way to do business. And one thing you'll do is, if you give them something they can do right now, even if they don't buy, they're thanking you and they're grateful for the content. And guess what? Next time you do a webinar that's rated that may be more in their market, they're much more likely to come on and work with you. And that is incredible. That alone is invaluable, because the more you do, the more trust and credibility you build. Guess what? You're going to make a ton more sales later on, and you have a great reputation. And you know, we're certainly going to be doing a lot more of this very model with some of our workshops. So I'm literally giving you not only what I do, what I'm going to do, and how I'm going to make another few $1 million. So this is why I'm so excited to do this Ask Sean 100, because I'll tell you right now, this is gold. And like I said, there's no pitch here at all. I'm not going to suddenly sell you this incredible webinar system. No, I'm just giving you this content. It's my way to say thank you for being with us and sticking with us. So anyway, rambling aside, you want to make sure whatever you give them in this webinar as the value content is going to get them results. So you want to tell them right now that this is something you can do as soon as you're finished with a webinar, and tell them about the results they can expect, and then explain who you are and why they need to listen to you. Now, this is very, very powerful. Whenever I do a webinar, I always do a little brief intro saying about that. For example, I've been in internet marketing for over 15 years. I've consulted with Fortune 500 companies. I've been speaking with businesses and on stage in dozens of countries all over the world. I'm a speaker, I'm an author, I'm an internet marketing strategist, and one of the leading internet marketing consultants out there. Well, if I tell you that, and that stamps my credibility right off the bat. Now, by doing that, it's suddenly like, well, okay, this guy's done all that. I need to listen to him. This is valuable stuff. So that's very, very powerful indeed. Now, with that being said, one other thing I like to do in my intro is, look, anyone who comes to a webinar, unless you say right up front there's no pitch, they know there's going to be a pitch coming. Anyone, especially in the IM industry, okay, that's one of the biggest things. So what I like to do is right at the end of the intro says, once you've told them exactly what they're going to get out of this, all the value they're going to get out of this and the benefits, then one thing I like to do is I ask them permission. They already know it's coming, so be upfront about it. Say, listen, if I give you absolutely massive value, if I show you how to do all of this, do you mind if I show you something at the end? And you know what I do? I get them to say yes. I get them to say, hey, well, just put in the chat box, if that's cool with you, if I show you how to do this, how to do this, how to do this, do you mind if I show you something at the end? And then you'll get lots of people saying yes. And guess what? Being yes, they've given you permission. So when you actually go into the pitch, you actually have a lot more people sticking at the end because they can see what you have to offer. They know it's coming up, and it's a lot more accepted. Again, that's a huge mistake I see many people make. So again, that in itself is a gold nugget right there. Now, when you come to your actual value content, and your value content should be short and concise, about 30 to 45 minutes, but your customers need to have warm fuzzies. And by giving them real, I mean solid value, you build trust, credibility, and rapport with your market. And that's incredible. Now, one of the things I like to do is just do something that's powerful yet easy, and something that is step by step. In other words, it's something they can easily replicate themselves once they finish the call. And I like to give, say for example, I'm doing, I'll use this as an example. You know, after doing this today, I'm thinking I'm actually going to do a full workshop about creating six-figure webinars. So what I might do is, if I was doing that, I would show exactly what I'm doing here. What's the main elements of a webinar, how to do it. And then I'd give a sample, and this is kind of a sample of would be considered a sample of how to create six-figure webinars. And I'm doing an entire weekend boot camp into an hour. So this would be a sample. Another way I like to do is a shortcut. What do I mean by a shortcut? Say, for example, I've got a product that talks about traffic generation, and I have 6 different techniques that I show one a week for 6 weeks. A shortcut would be how to build lots of links and get instant links to your website by using your RSS feed. And maybe I'll show how to use Links Alpha, and then take your RSS feed, how to syndicate it, set it up with Links Alpha, and get massive links, and what else you can do. And I could do that easily in a webinar. And that would be great value stuff that someone can do right now. Incredible valuable. And it's a very simple technique. Take your RSS feed, create an account here, sign up, add these networks, link this in, you're good to go. That is what I call the shortcut. And then another formula I like is what I call the manual method versus the automatic method. So what I might do is, maybe I've got my product automates a strategy or automates how to do something. Okay? And then what I'll do is I'll show them how they can do it manually. But my product shows them how they can scrap all that, not do it manually, but do it automatically. It's an incredible way to do it. So what I will also do is highlight the benefits they're going to get from all of this. So even as I'm showing them how to do it, I'm reiterating the benefits they're going to get. And that is very, very powerful indeed, because all the time that you're working with them, not only are you giving them value, you're reminding them of the value they're getting, so it really sits in their minds. And this is one of the best elements of salesmanship. I like to sell without selling. That's one of my biggest strategies, I would say, and one of my gifts. I can sell without selling. I'll give you an example. And funnily enough, what I'm about to say leads into this one. Use stories or case studies where possible. I'll give you a little story now that I've said that. Many years ago, I used to work as a car dealer. Or I worked as a car dealership. Now I fell into this by accident, actually. It was a part-time job. And I worked on this car lot, and there was guys there. They had their expensive suits, their gold rings, their gold watch. And I hate used car salesmen. So if there's any used car salesmen out there right now, I apologize. But I hate that type of used car salesman. Because just looking at them, they're the people you avoid when you go to a car lot. Because you're like, oh, Christ, they're going to oversell me, they're going to hype it up. And honestly, I'm going to give the best example, clickbank gurus. Okay? The so-called gurus who spam your inbox with crap, they're the people, that's the equivalent of used car salesmen in the internet marketing industry. Absolutely drives me crazy. But think about this. If you walk into a parking lot and you see the guy who saunters over with his cocky attitude and his huge ego with his gold watch, and he's saying, hi, how are you doing? I see you're here to buy a car. Let me show you this Mercedes-Benz. Guess what? You came in there looking for a camper van or a minivan or just an affordable sports car. But he's guiding you towards the Mercedes-Benz. Why? He's going to get more money from that. Here's the thing. I like guiding people. And when I used to work on this parking lot, I came in there, basically, here's the funny thing. I was a kid. I was like 17, I think it was. And I was hired to wash cars and detail cars. It was easy. It was good money. It was hard work. But I had people that and I would just start speaking to people that had ducked and avoided the big used car salesman. And they would come over to me, and I'd start speaking to them and say, well, what are you looking for? Maybe I can, tell you what we got on the lot. And they would tell me what they're looking for and then, what their needs are. I'm like, you know what? We've actually got one of those over here. Let me show you where it is. And basically, I was a guide. Now, here's the funny thing. The owner of that car lot, now this car lot did millions of pounds of business every month. It was a huge, huge car lot. And they had many car salesmen, okay? And it was absolutely massive. And I would start speaking to these people, and they would tell me what they need. And then the used car salesman would come sauntering over. Oh, I see you're looking at this, and they'd tell him to go away because I was still speaking to him. Oh, man, I got in so much trouble with the car salesman. They hated my guts. But here's the thing: I wasn't really allowed to sell the car, but just by guiding them, listening to their needs, figuring out what they needed, and then matching those needs, I was able to sell a fortune in cars. And the owner of the car lot saw that I kept bringing in these leads to one of the other dealers, one of them who was actually a really cool guy. He wasn't like one of these flashy guys. So I said, you know what? If you go inside, ask for Steve, and he'll be able to sort you out. Well, I can't sell it to you. I'm actually just detailing. I should get back to work. But go in there, speak to him. He'll tell him that this is the price that I know you could probably negotiate for. He'll be able to sort you out. And man, I tell you what, I got threatened with physical harm by a group of these car dealers because I was basically taking their business away. Now, I didn't get any cuts from that, but the owner of the car lot said, Sean, you're wasted there. Let's put you on the lot. Within 2 months, I was selling double of what every other person on that lot was doing. Every other person. And I wasn't intercepting and I wasn't going crazy. I just went up, and started speaking to people. I said, my opening thing was, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? I'll see what I can do. And that was it. I was a guide. So anyway, long story short, I was highlighting benefits. I was giving them warm and fuzzies, and I was guiding them. And now stories, that little story I just gave you had a moral right there. And I didn't even think about this when I was doing this. The moral being is be a guide, not a salesman. Sell without selling. And that's what the value content does. Because you are always seeding and selling. Now, for example, by the time I've got through this, and I'm talking about, if I was selling this, I've unintentionally seeded several products. I've seeded the inner circle. I've told you that this is part of the inner circle, that we're doing, a lot here, that members are going to get this. If you're not a member, things like that. So you already know I have a membership site called the Inner Circle. I've already said, I might do this as a workshop. Guess what? I've already seeded that I might do a workshop. Again, this is unintentional, but it becomes so natural. And I could quite easily get a lot of sales here tonight if I did a $4.97 webinar or workshop. I'm not going to. This is a zero pitch session. But you get the idea. You're always seeding. You're telling them about the program. And I'll use an example. One thing I do is, say, for example, I was talking about a technique where we're getting more traffic. And I'll use the Only Wire example I mentioned. I said, well, I talk more about this in Module 2 of the Traffic Ninja course, or whatever the heck it's called. And so what I'm doing is I'm seeding the fact that there's more expanded information in the course. And that if you like this technique that I may be showing, that I expand upon it more later on in the actual course. So you're always seeding, you're always selling, but you're doing it without being obvious about it. You're kind of, that's why it's called seeding. You're planting that idea and that perception in your customer's mind or potential customer's mind. So another thing I like that you should do is, and I do this several times, I prove the results. I show stats, income shots. Another thing is, if you're in the, say, health market or weight loss market and you're doing a webinar, guess what? Before and after shots, same thing. You want to show that what you're showing them not only has great benefits, but it's proven results. And I'll tell you right now, if you do that, you will find selling so much easier, and you will outsell. I will be quite honest. If I put you with this formula right next to a ClickBank guru or one of the so-called experts who couldn't sell their way out of a paper bag, you'll outsell them every time. If you have confidence in what you do, you have a proven technique, you can show all this great information, you will have not only loyal fans, but loyal customers for life. That's very, very important. So, I'll be quite honest. What you're learning right now could create not only a 6-figure business, but a 7-figure business. And it's amazing. It's just up to you how you pursue it and how you push it. Now, the transition to pitch. Now, like I said, this should be seamless. And in general, with a webinar, you will always get a little bit of a drop-off. People who've got the content and now they're gone because they know you're about to pitch. Well, again, you minimize that, first of all, by telling them you're going to pitch them and getting their buy-in right at the beginning. And then you transition across seamlessly. Now, like I said, all transitions need to be smooth and seamless. And one of the ways, and this is an example of the way I do it, is I call it the I remember. And now, for someone like me with ADD, that's always a little bit interesting. But what I do is I say, I remember when, and I'll use this as a manual versus automated example. I remember when I used to do this process manually, like I'm showing you right here. But what I do now is I automate everything, and I'll show you exactly how. So what you've done is you've just shown them a manual technique, and then you're basically transitioning to say, now I do it 100% automated, and let me tell you more about that. So that's a transition right there. Now, they've just showed them a great technique. They can do it manually, and they can walk away right now and do it manually and get massive results. Great. Fantastic. You know what? You've got a happy webinar customer or viewer. But the people who's like, you know what, if I can automate this and get those results and save myself a massive amount of time and effort, yeah, I'll do that. So they're interested there. You've got them hooked. Now, another one I like is basically, I call it the no-brainer. I would not be doing my job if I didn't show you how to do that, or how to do this. Or like another transition I use in relation to this is, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't show you how to expand upon this, or if I didn't apply an example with this webinar program. If I was doing this, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't give you the opportunity to take this training and do a full boot camp. There's a perfect transition right there. Or another way I like is, what I've just shown you is the absolute tip of the iceberg. This is just one strategy out of 20, and I'd love to show you the other 20. Guess what? That is a fantastic, fantastic little transition, because if they're really excited and got a lot of value out of what you've just given them, and you have a whole load more, they will eat that up, and that is incredible. Say, for example, I'll use another example. Excuse me, I need a glass of water here. If I was selling a weight loss product, if I could in a webinar show you 3 foods, and I'm making this up so don't think this is a real product here, if I could show you 3 foods that you should eat that will help you lose 5 pounds within a week, and then that was my value content, and then from there I expanded way beyond that. I would show you an amazing diet and very light exercise program that will then help you lose another 30 pounds on top of that. That is the tip of the iceberg method. So 5 foods, 5 pounds. Okay, that's my value content. And then for most people who are interested in weight loss, they want to lose a lot more than 5 pounds. But what you've done is you've set it up with 5 pounds in 5 days, you know, or what have you. 5 foods, 5 pounds, okay, in 5 days. I'm sorry, I'm losing what I was saying there. But prime example of ADD. Maybe I should do a product on ADD. But that's your value content. That's your nugget, your small sample that we talked about earlier on. But then you say, okay, if you'd like to lose 30 pounds in a month, guess what? We have a great program that builds on top of this. This is the starting block. It's the kickstart. It's one of my favorite words at the moment for copywriting. I don't say sample or starting point. I say it's a kickstart. It's a way to get started, but now let's complete your journey. Great transition right there. So that's the I would not be doing my job if I didn't share with this great information with you and how to get a hold of it. The other transition I like is 2 options. Basically, you could do it this way, or I could show you a much better way. And and you want to share the benefits of why, and then we'll get to that in the pitch in a moment. So you can keep doing it the way you're doing it right now, or I could show you this. Basically, if they've come to this webinar and they have a need, they can keep doing what they're doing right now, which is obviously getting them no results, otherwise they wouldn't be on your webinar. And then you show them, or you can do this, and then you explain what it is. So these are all transitions. Now, one thing I always say, when you set up your webinar, practice your transitions and be confident. The confidence and practice will make your transitions seamless. That is absolutely phenomenal. I'll give you another gold tip as well. And again, this is something that most people don't realize. You could pre-record your entire webinar and then play it as if it's live. Now, this way, if you have lots of ums, ahs, you mess it up, and you're not 100% confident, guess what? Practice it and record it. You can use something like Camtasia. Okay, record it in high resolution, and then practice, 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 practice. And if you're happy with it, you can edit it, cut out your ums and ahs and things like that until you've got a really cool setup and webinar that you're happy with. And then when you do your live webinar to your initial group, guess what? You put your video full screen and then you play it as if you're doing the whole thing. That is a gold secret. I shared that at a boot camp recently, and it was just, it was one of those gold nugget kind of penny drop moments, because for a lot of people, they're very nervous about being live. And you know what? You get used to it. I tell you what, I hate my voice. I hate standing in front of the camera. You wouldn't think it, because everything I do is video. Here's the thing, guys. My writing sucks. I hate writing even more. So it was the lesser of two evils. So I kind of had to grin and bear it, stand in front of this. I mean, we've got hundreds and hundreds of people here right now. But I'm doing this in front of I'm talking to myself. I'm talking on a microphone on my desk. So, you know, it's one of those things that you can just practice, record it, edit it, play it back as if it's live, and guess what? Boom, you're done. You don't have to worry about, are you going to mess it up when it's live? It's a great little starter tip. So anyway, that's the transition. Next, you want to get into your pitch. Now, your transition is like 2 or 3 minutes, maybe even less. You just want to hit that note so that you move seamlessly into the pitch. And your pitch should be about 10 to 15 minutes. You want to keep it kind of up pace, certainly upbeat, and build upon the momentum you've already achieved. So what you need to do is you've already given them a nugget of great information, maybe as like a sample or a manual versus automated method, or step by step. But now you need to say, okay, why is what you're going to offer them so much better? And what are the benefits on top of what they've already done? Now, if you're using the tip of the iceberg, what you're doing is you're building on what you've already shown them. With a manual versus automatic, you can say, okay, this is going to save you a lot of time, which equates to, I always equate time to money. It's a little tip for you as well. If I can save you 100 hours a week, let me think about that. Okay, let me say 50 hours a week. How much is your time worth? And I always equate it to my time. My time, if I'm doing a coaching call, it's $1,000 an hour. If I can do more coaching calls in a week and then not have to do this, I've just made myself $10,000 in my time saved. That's a great little segue to show how much better in the benefits. Always, not features, benefits. If you can automate a process, you can do a lot more with a lot less time. You don't have to worry about it, less stress. You can spend more time with your family, more time in your business, be more profitable. Again, those are all great benefits. So that's the kind of manual versus automatic. So what I also do is I also say, who is this for and why? And I might also throw in a couple of case studies to kind of show who this is for and why. Because on every call, you're not going to, like I say, convert every single person. There are going to be people that are quite happy doing the manual version, and that's great. They're starters or they're just beginning. They're not quite ready to jump on your program for whatever reason. That's fine. But what you want to do is do what I call a separation. Okay? You want to separate the people who are interested from those who are not, and you want to target your exact customer. So, for example, if I was doing the traffic course, and this is kind of a subtle thing as well. If I'm doing a traffic course for people who don't have traffic, I will say, okay, this really is for people who are struggling to get rankings, who are needing more traffic, kind of everybody really, because there's never enough traffic, people who want better rankings and more conversions. I'm tapping into those needs as well. A lot of people don't realize that. But if you tap into those needs, that's why they're here in the first place. Guess what? You've just made your product valuable to everybody. And then again, you show social proof. Maybe you've got some testimonials. One thing I like to do is and this is a great thing when you automate your webinar, is your first group that you do live, once you have done your 6-week course, I always ask for video testimonials and social, basically, have you succeeded? Have you made any money? Or have you got more traffic? Send me a testimonial, video testimonial, and proof of your success. and we might feature you. I always give, I might even, use an incentive for people who've done that, who can send me all those 3 things. Now there's nothing wrong with soliciting testimonials, especially if they're successful. And guess what? When you then go and do your main launch, your automated launch later on, boy, oh boy, do you have a lot of happy customers, because they're seeing social proof, they're seeing results, and it's not you. And you can do it in a video and what have you. I love doing that, especially on stage. It's a great little technique. And then I like to explain exactly what they get and why it's a bargain. So if I've got a 6-week course, I'm going to tell them exactly what we're going to cover in those 6 weeks. I'll break it down. In week 1, you're going to get this. And I like to give each module a really kick-ass name, like as if each week is its own product. Like kick-ass ways to double your traffic in 24 hours. That may be module 1. Guess what? That sounds exciting. That sounds valuable. Maybe it's worth that just alone. That's what you're trying to achieve. And each module, each element you're giving away in your product builds on that. You want to target their needs and show that you're targeting exactly what they want in that. I think it's yeah, sorry. I have a 1-year-old German Shepherd who is misbehaving slightly, so my wife is just going to go check that out. So sorry about that. The other thing I like to do is say why this is a bargain. Now, I'll give you an example. If I was selling this course right now as a workshop, I've already told you that when I do this live in person, it's $5,000. But we're not doing anything near that. And I just basically say, we're not going to do that today. But I'll tell you about that in a minute. Guess what? I've reiterated that this is an incredible, I charge a lot for this, but we're not doing anywhere near that. I'm going to give you an absolute fantastic deal, and you're going to get so much value from this. And I like to build up the value of what everything is worth. And if I'm doing bonuses, I might seed those as well. So once I've told them exactly what they're going to get, I take away all the risks with a guarantee, money-back guarantee. When I'm doing webinars and workshops, I usually give 7 days. And that's very common. A lot of people might, it's really up to you how you do this. If I'm doing a 6-week live training program, I always keep it 7 days. And it's the same on stage when you're selling $5,000 products or $20,000 products. I always keep it to 7 days. Because if you offer a 30-day guarantee and they're 6 weeks in or 4 weeks in and then ask for a refund, yeah, that's a little negative. I don't like that. And, that's a bad experience. So keep that in mind. You can offer I've seen people offer a 30-day guarantee, no problems at all. But if they've got 2/3 of your product, now, I'll be quite honest, a lot of people, I have very, very low refund rates, probably the lowest in the industry, because by the time people have got to like the 4th week, and I've done 30-day guarantees, refund rates are very, very low. So you could offer the 30 days and you experiment. That's basically what I'm saying there. But if people are engaged for 4 weeks and got a lot of value out of it, it's very unlikely that they're going to refund. Okay, so keep that in mind. Your initial refunds are going to happen within the first 7 days of people changing their mind or what have you. And honestly, don't worry about it, because they'll be back for more later on. So another thing I like to do is add in, and this is very important, genuine scarcity. I hate people, and I'll be quite honest, I've been on webinars and I've hosted webinars where people have sprung this on me at the last second, and I have to grit my teeth because I don't want to call them out right in front of basically all you guys. And they say there's only 15 seats left, and you know that they're going to offer 15 more seats tomorrow to someone else, and everything else. That's BS scarcity. I don't like that. And that's the beautiful thing about doing this 6-week program version. The scarcity is we're going to start live in, say, 7 days. We've only, so if you don't sign up now, you're going to miss out. That's scarcity. The doors close in 2 days. If the doors close in 2 days, guess what? Close the doors in 2 days. No more sign-ups. That's it. Another great thing with this is you train your customers. If you say you're going to do something and you do it, guess what? Next time they're on a webinar, if they didn't take advantage, they know you're serious. So if you say you're going to raise the price, guess what? Raise the price. If the doors shut at midnight, shut the doors at midnight. I'll give you another great scarcity tactic, which is genuine scarcity. I always say that this is pre-launch pricing, and I'll be upfront. Right now, this is the first time I've offered this program, and we're going to do this live. What we're going to do is I'm going to launch this later on at double the price. However, because you guys are getting in on the ground floor, we're going to do this live with you guys. I'm going to offer you a massive discount. But this is pre-launch pricing only, and it's only available for the next, until midnight tonight. So I want you to jump on, but as of midnight tonight, we're closing the doors, and when this goes out to the public, it's going to be double the price. If they've got value and they want what you've given them, and they've seen the value you give, you have shown them all exactly what they're going to get, and they're engaged, guess what? You've probably already made the sale. In fact, I'll tell you right now, if you follow this formula and you've already got halfway through the pitch, they're probably already sold. In fact, they're probably sold before you even started the pitch, because you've given them that much value and they're engaged. And that is awesome. That's what this is all about. So another thing is make purchasing very, very easy. You want to make sure when you show the price and everything else, which you do right at the time of scarcity or maybe before, you want to make it very easy to buy. In other words, you want to tell them exactly how to order. Click on this link. You'll see this page. Click on, click here. Sign up right now. They'll take you to PayPal. Check out, and you'll get instant access to the members area. And we'll be all ready to go when we start. Perfect. Tell them exactly what they need to do. And if you need to, show them. Show them where to go, what to click, and stuff like that. Very, very powerful. Now, another genuine scarcity technique, before I forget, is what I call it's an industry term, fast action bonuses. So basically, the first 10 people to sign up are going to get half-hour call with me to do X. And now and I'll give you an example of that. First 10 people, I charge $1,000 an hour for coaching. I'm going to give you $500 worth of my time for the first 10 people only. Guess what? People are going to be lining up and jumping on that link very, very quickly if you've done your job and if people have been engaged with what you do. So that is another great genuine scarcity tactic. Don't use any of this bogus BS, scarcity, like, I'm going to double the price in 24 hours, or I've only got 15 seats and I have to ask my programmer to open up another licenses and Sean's twisted my arm or whatever. Yeah, don't do any of that crap. You don't need to. It's unneeded, and what it does, it creates distrust because everyone knows that's BS. Okay? Don't do that. Now, the close should be another 10 to 15 minutes, and this is basically the reason to act. Why? So you've probably already made the sale. Don't get me wrong. What you're doing now is you're hammering it home. And the close is vital because you need to target objections. For example, we use an example of weight loss. And if I said, for example, 30 pounds in 30 days, okay, basically a pound a day, and again, I'm making that up. But say, for example, what's the objections you can hit with that? Objection could be, well, I don't know if I can do that. I've tried other diets. Guess what? Address that. Say, look, there are lots of other diets out there. You've probably been, and again, if you've got your own personal story, like honestly, I'm on a diet right now. I'm trying to lose 20 pounds. Okay? And I'll say, look, I've tried other diets. I've tried everything else. This is the only one that's actually worked for me. Guess what? I've just targeted the frustrations of other people. They've probably tried all sorts of other things to lose weight and not got anything that works. So basically personalize it. Personalize your, the objections they have and put them in your own quarters, how you've been through that as well. That's a great little part of your close. So you're breaching those objections, and again, you could do that probably before the pitch as well. I tend to do that during the value content and kind of target those objections right at the start. But another place to do it is in the close. And there are many different closes I use, and I've learned lots of these in sales over the years. Each one of them is very customer focused, and like I said, you're targeting objections. You want to target their needs. You want to make them really be aligned to what you have to offer, and you can stack these closes, which means you hit them one after the other, because the different close is going to appeal to different people. I want to hit every single note, every single need the customers have. So I usually use like 3 to 4 closes, one after the other at once. And I've seen by doing this, by stacking closes, I've seen conversions increase by 20%. And when you're selling a $497 or even a $2,000 program, that's a no-brainer. Now, let me tell you and show you some of the closes I do. For example, one of my favorites is "You will forget everything" close. Now, this is great for me because I have ADHD, and I can't tell you the number of times I've been on a training program or a webinar, and then I go off the webinar thinking I've made a page of notes, or several pages of notes, a stack of notes. In fact, under my desk I have about 8 different notepads where I make notes. And guess what? I know I've not put half of that stuff into action. So basically what I do is I'll say, look, I've given you some great training today, but when you've finished today's training, you're going to go get yourself a drink, have a snack, put your notepad down, and guess what? All motivation is gone. You're going to lose it, forget it, and then you're not going to get any value out of this talk. I don't want that to happen. So what I want you to do now is go sign up. Let's start this training. Let me help you do this. And that's it. You've made the close. Okay? You've given them a reason why they need to act. They're going to forget everything, and people fear loss. So if you say, hey, you're going to forget everything, you're going to walk away from here, and you're not going to apply it. Don't do that to yourself. Guess what? They're probably thinking, yeah, you know what? I've done that before. He's right. That's a great little close right there. Another one, which I've used recently, which works like a charm, is "I will sleep like a baby." And what I do there is I'll say, look, when we get off this webinar tonight, I'm going to sleep like a baby because I know this strategy is working for me right now, 24/7. I'll give an example where I did that with. What webinar was that I did that with recently? Oh, it was actually a pitch. Funnily enough, it was part of a close for Loki Link Builder. I was talking about that and said, I'm going to sleep like a baby because I know Loki's working for me 24/7, 365. You are probably going to be frustrated with everything you got, probably not get any sleep at all. But I'm going to sleep sound asleep because I know it's working for me. Again, what you're doing is you're putting them in the, you're in trouble, I'm not. But I want to help you get out of trouble. So you're doing what I call the separation process. Again, you're putting them in the, hey, you're in trouble, I've got the solution, I'm going to sleep like a baby because I know it's working for me. But you're not. Why don't you come over to my side and I'll help you? It's a great little separation technique. And again, it's kind of divide and conquer, I suppose, if you want to put it in the art of war. I'll tell you what, there's so many parallels with the art of war to marketing. I might have to do a webinar and a workshop on that. The other thing I like to do is the live customer testimonial. Now, this is a very cool thing. If you have someone that maybe you've got a beta test group or you've let a few people in and friends to check it out, get them on the webinar and then get them live and say, hey, you know what? Ben wanted to say a couple of things. He's been doing this course. He's been taking a look at it. Let me bring him on and then get him to talk about it. That third-party validation, it's not just you saying it, it's someone else who's a customer who's got some benefit out of it. And I'll tell you what, that instant live proof and credibility is incredibly valuable. It's amazing. Works, and again, in line with everything else, fantastic. Now, again, one we kind of already talked about is a reminder that this is a, if you want to do it this way, is a pre-launch pricing. So they're getting in right now that, this is the, the price is going to go and double, but this is pre-launch. And it's, people think, oh, you know what, this is a real great deal. If he's going to double the price, I want to get this. There's a lot of value in this, but I don't want to pay double. I'll act now. Perfect. The other one that I like, which is discovered completely by accident, is what I call the ADHD close. Very, very relevant to me because as I'm doing this, I'm working through a webinar like this, I always forget something. So what I do is, and I discovered this completely by accident, doing video marketing goldmine of all things. What I always do is I forgot a very important bonus, and I forgot it in the webinar. It was completely missing. I'm like, hold on, there was something missing. Oh, yes. So, and suddenly I realized that right at that point, after I said, oh yeah, and I forgot, you get this as well, and this is worth X, and that's that's part of your entire package. It's the oh I forgot, the AD, that's why I call it the ADHD clause, because I'd forget my own head if it wasn't spread on my shoulders. So by doing that, by getting the ADHD clause, and saying, oh, and before I forget, we're also doing this, you get even greater reason to act, because they've suddenly got even more value. If they're already sold, they're sitting on the fence, and you throw on one more piece of weight, you just knock them off the fence over to the buy button, and that's great. Another pitch or close I use, which is, I used to call this the magpie close, but info overload. This is a very, very cool little close right now, and I actually learned this from Zig Ziglar. We all suffer from information overload. If I gave you let's just say you went to college and I gave you 16 books, okay, 16 textbooks, and I said to you, guess what? Read all those, and then at the end of the semester, I'm going to test you. See you at the end of the semester. And you've got all these books. You have no idea. You're just going to read these books. You're going to suddenly be a genius. You're suddenly going to be able to do all the stuff that's in there. Hell no, you need guide. You need that teacher to show you and walk through every step. That's the info overload close. To say, hey, we've got a lot in here, and I do the us versus them. This is one of my favorite copywriting techniques. I like to have an enemy. We talked about one tonight. Say the used car salesman. Okay, there's the us versus them. No one likes a used car salesman dripping in gold and an Armani suit trying to shove them into a car they don't want. Or like, we talked about the clickbank gurus and these scammers. Again, that's the us versus them. I've separated myself from them, and I've separated you from them because, a lot of these guys you can't trust. So what I like to do is like, okay, these guys will do this to you. I don't want you to suffer from info overload and something that doesn't work. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you step by step. I'll hold your hand every step of the way. We'll show you literally over my shoulder how to do this, and we'll do this together. So that they don't feel they're going to be overloaded with something they can't achieve. So there you go. So there you go, guys. Now that my tongue is untwisted, you can do a hell of a lot with this process. That is how to create a 6-figure business with webinars, literally like that, and the formula works. So guys, use it. Practice your pitch, set it up, literally break down those 4 steps or those 5 elements in PowerPoint and expand upon it. Just fill in the blanks. Use those elements we talked about, and then practice your pitch again and again. If you want someone to format your webinar, again, go to Fiverr. Someone will do some nice graphics and format it for you. But do get confident. Practice, practice, practice until you could almost do this in your sleep. Sound confident, you will sell a lot more. And here's a little tip for you. I kind of hinted at this. Record it on multiple machines. If you have a friend who connects to the webinar, get them to record the sessions, okay? And then you record it as well. That way, if you have any technical problems, for example, the Mac version of GoToWebinar has a couple of issues. I'm recording, as I said, on the laptop in my studio, and I'm doing it on the PC side. So I've got 2 recordings going just in case. So there's a little $1 million tip for you right there, because the last thing you want is to lose that. Then convert it to MP4 for maximum compatibility, your recording. You could do that with Handbrake is a great example. That will take your WMV, which GoToWebinar creates, and then you can convert it to MP4. You can also do it with Microsoft Media Encoder 4. It's a free tool, and that works very well. So there's a little tip for you as well. Now, going a little bit technical here, but bear with me. I host my videos on Amazon S3 and CloudFront. Basically, I used Amazon servers, their cloud servers. It's a content delivery network, and that allows me to stream my playbacks very easily. And I use Easy Video Player for replays. Now, that's a tool. It's about, I think, $67, but it allows me to do pop-up buttons at certain times. It's great for replays, and when you automate and drip feed your video in or videos in later on, it's fantastic. Very, very powerful. And there's lots of instructions out there on how to set all this up. Now, I want to tell you right now, I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars using this very formula. I use this formula everywhere. And certainly over the last few years, it's been one of the core parts of our business. And once you have stats that you can see maybe from your own list, or maybe you've done promotions here and there and worked with a few people, you can then attract some of the higher-end JV partners. You might even want to get a JV broker. Hire someone who can bring other people on board, and off you go. If you're in a niche that's not in IM, then go find people who are product creators already in there and go find a way to speak to them that you can help them out and then get them on board with promoting your product as well. And one thing I like to do is if I'm working with JV partners, if I'm that practiced, I like to do it live with them. Or you can set up your auto webinar and autoplay it as well. Either way works very well. And then using an auto webinar system like Auto Webinar Player I mentioned earlier on is fantastic. There are others out there. Stealth Seminar. There's a plugin for WordPress, which I've been testing. It's kind of interesting, shall we say. I'm actually looking at creating one myself, so bear that in mind. Yeah, it's working with auto webinars is great because you can literally put your entire business on autopilot. And the cool thing with them is they can play in their time zones. So if I have, and we've got people all over the world here tonight. If I've got customers in South Africa, hats off to Herman there. If I've got people in Malaysia, in England, right now it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. In South Africa it's like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I've got people who literally stay up for these webinars, and it's inconvenient. Hopefully I haven't caused any divorces, but when you're doing these kind of webinars, if you're doing them live like this, it's not always convenient. So by doing them in their time zones, hey, guess what? It's very convenient for them. It makes it, oh, I can pick a time. Well, I'm going to be available Thursday at 2 o'clock. I'll do it right then. Great. And the other thing you can do, and this is a little tip as well, is offer an instant replay on your sign-up page. So they don't have to wait for 2 o'clock on Thursday. If they've got time right now, guess what? They can play a replay and get started. That right there is a multi-thousand-dollar tip. And, that is incredible one right there. And it's amazing how many people will just click on that link rather than waiting for an auto webinar, watch a replay, and buy. So there you go, guys. That is, what time are we at? 7:44. My good grief, we've gone to an hour and 45 minutes. Okay, so what I'm going to do, first of all, is let me bring up, what we do now, guys, is I tend to do the live questions and answers. So what we're going to do, I just want to double check. Can you see my screen normally? Because we're switching back and forth between the webinar. I just want to make sure. Okay, that's webinar. Da, da, da. Can you see my screen okay now? Is it still full size? Okay, great. Now, was that valuable to you guys? Let me ask that before we get started with the live question and answers. Yeah, there should be a black screen. Let me actually, you know what? You should see my splash now. Okay, good. So did you get a lot of value out of that, guys? Let's just see if yes or no and everything else. Okay, great. Fantastic. Well, guys, I've really enjoyed this. We had a lot of great fun here. So what I'm going to do, now we've got so many people here, this is going to be a little nuts. So let me ask, if you've got a question, I'm going to do like 10 or 20 questions if I can. So do me a favor, ask your question in the text box, and then if you've got a microphone, I'm going to lower everyone's hands right now, okay? And if you've got a question that you have a microphone for, put your hand up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and see who's got questions, who's got answers, and we'll see what we do. Okay, so a couple of people asking about Loki. Okay, so anyone else with some questions? Let's see. Oh, someone asking about bots and how to make them. Oh, that's a very in-depth question. What I do is, okay, I've got two systems I use. I use a lot of macros. One system I use is called Automate. And the cool thing is that can record, it's like programming without programming. Another great tool is Ubot Studio. Now, I would have to do an entire workshop on Ubot Studio and creating bots. But there's lots of great tutorials on Ubot Studio, and you can automate anything, account creation. If you've got some tasks you want to do, like scraping, you can set up scrapers and do all sorts of cool stuff with that. That's kind of a little beyond what we can do for answering 20 quick questions. But yeah, that is something that's very, very in-depth. But yeah, Ubot Studio, it's pretty expensive. It's like, well, I'll say expensive. It's a couple $100, but it's well worth it if it can save you a lot of time. Someone's asking if we'll have a replay. Yes, we are recording this on 2 machines. And someone's like, oh, Ubot Studio is the letter U, Bot Studio. Let me pull it up. It's actually a great little tool, and it's only for the PC. Unfortunately, let me close all the other tabs here. And it does involve a little bit of not so much programming, but breaking down things into step by step. So yeah, this is a great little system. You can set up, there's actually a lot of actual pre-done bots that you can buy within this. It's ubotstudio.com. So hopefully that'll help you there. Okay, so anyway, okay, let's see. I'm looking at scanning the questions here. Do you JV with unknowns? I tend not to. The reason being is I like to have a rapport with people first. And this is the same with a lot of high-end JVs, I'll be quite honest. So one of the best ways to integrate with JVs, it's a bloody good question actually, is do them a favor. Reach out to them. Say, what do you do? And how can I help you? Now that phrase, I think, is one of the best door openers ever. I'm in the same business as you. I do a lot over here. How can I help you? And that will open a lot of doors. You can start a conversation that way. One thing I like to do is I ask them if I've got a big list that I've built. So look into list building. There's a gold tip for you there. And then I say, okay, I've got a list of this. Do you have anything I can promote? And I like to reach out. Do you have anything I can promote that will match my list? And here's what I do. Guess what? You create a reciprocal relationship, because now you've promoted them. You can engage them in conversation. Maybe ask them if they do any webinars, and stuff like that. Do they have any webinars that they do? You can then get your foot in the door. And again, if you speak with a JV broker, they already have the existing relationships, so you give them a cut of your profits in order to introduce you to JVs you don't have. So there's a little tip. Okay, a question from Dana. Let me just see, it's actually a longer one, so let me answer this one. Since Google has changed recently with Penguin and Panda, on our niche websites, how important is the quality of the content we write? Is the uniqueness that counts, or do we need to write well-written articles now? Really, with Penguin and Panda, yes. The unique articles, very important. Authority articles are very good. And I would also say well-written articles, because I'll show you why. And I know this is part of Google's algorithm. They can detect how the readability of articles. So say, for example, I'm talking about acne treatments. If I go over here, I go to more search tools. I want to change the reading level. So I will say, okay, filter results by basic, advanced, intermediate. So they can tell with the language that's used within your article how advanced it is. So if you're going after very advanced keywords that are kind of industry specific, then use advanced language. However, in general, one thing I recommend is write to a 7th grade audience. Keep your language simple, short, simple sentences, short paragraphs. Keep it simple because Google does look at the readability. So keep that in mind with your authority content. And again, one thing with authority content is write for the keyword, but also sprinkle in some related terms. If you want to know a related term, we've just talked about acne treatment here. I will also click on related searches. I want to see what Google considers a related search or a related term. So acne treatments, phrases I might use, at-home acne treatments, top acne treatments, homemade acne treatments. These are what Google sees as related. Another one, and you have to look, obviously, if they make sense. Maybe if I'm talking about acne treatments, maybe I mention some of the proactive, Accutane. Maybe I'll sprinkle a few of these in there as well. I might even use these as tags for my article, so I'm tackling all of these. It's a great way to get your LSIs in there as well. Now, someone's saying, how can I help you? Well, yeah, Ian, that's a great example. Ian just used the example of how can I help you make more money. It's a great intro. Everyone is in business to make more money. So that's a great thing here. Thank you very much for that. Now, got a question from Brian here. Oh, actually, someone's asking, can you give the link for the $79 GoToWebinar link? I don't have it. I have to look it up, and I will put it in the members area. I can't put it out in this webinar. That's really an inside piece of information for the Inner Circle. So if you're a member of the Inner Circle, I'll find that and put that up there. Okay, let's see. I'm going to see. I'm going to try and actually go live with someone here. Okay, I'm going to try and find someone who's got a actual live question, but I've got to match up people with the question, so bear with me as I do this. Okay, David V. Okay, you know what? I kind of answered this question, but let me bring David on. Okay, David V, you're live. Go ahead, sir. What's your ask your question?
I had a few questions actually. I believe I was asking the first one, which is, what is the best way to reach out to JVs, and you may also want to define what a JV is.
Okay, let me tackle that, and I can only really do one question here, so I'll answer that one. JVs is joint venture partners, basically someone who you can partner with on a product launch to promote products with each other. Maybe they'll promote your product to their list, and you'll promote their product to your list. It's a great relationship building for your business. And one thing I always say, guys, is even if you're in business and you've got competitors, competitors are just JV partners you haven't made yet. So keep that in mind as well. That's kind of a mindset thing. But what I like to do is if I'm in a niche, I'll go to I'll use acne treatment as an example. I go looking at product creators who already have, maybe are on ClickBank, and I will find a way to contact them. Maybe I'll buy their product. I will go through what they're doing, find out exactly what their angle is, see if it's a good match for what I do, and then I will find a way to contact them and maybe their support center and stuff like that and say, hey, I've got a list here, or I've got this. I don't try and say, hey, would you promote my product? That's the worst way to do it. You've got to open the door and find a way that you can help them, or maybe how would, questions like, how can I help you guys make more money? Can you pass this on to whoever the name of the person is that's behind the product? I think there's some stuff we could do, but I'd like to speak to them one-on-one. That's a great way to get past the gatekeepers. So there's a lot you can do in that regard. But it's great. There's all sorts of other ways. Another way I would suggest is try and find on JV forums to do different setups. So JV Notify Pro, put out there that you're looking for JV partners for a product launch. You know, people who are looking for products to promote tend to hang out there, and you will start getting relationships that way. Another way to do this. Here's a quick system, and let me just go back here. Another way I do, this is a six-figure business model in itself, is I will release products at, and I'll do a few, like 3 or 4 kind of small reports at the kind of 27 to 47 range at 100% commission. Now what you do here is people will hear about your product, promote it because it's 100% commission. And that's great, $37. First of all, they get paid. They don't have to split the money. Great. And you can do this 37, you can do 17 to 47. The higher price, the better, because, again, more money in their pockets. Guess what? You are suddenly seen as valuable, and you have now a list of people who are JV partners because you feed them into your autoresponder list. So when you're doing other products, guess what? You have a team. First of all, you have a team of customers that have purchased your products, so you can upsell to them and release your products to them. It's a great list building little technique here. And then you have a list of JV partners as well that you can do product launches with. So there you go. That is another quick way using micro products to build up a JV list as well. So sorry, just a wee technical issue there. So that is another way to open the door with JV partners, especially when you're doing this kind of thing. Now, okay, let me see who else we can bring on. This is good, guys. I want to answer as many questions as I can here. Let me go to, let's see. You know what? I'm going to go to South Africa because I know Herman. He's a member of the Inner Circle. For a long-term now, member of the Inner Circle, and has had great success. So let me pull him on real quick and unmute him. Herman, how you doing, sir? You got your hand up there? You got your microphone on? Herman, you're killing me.
Yes.
Oh, there he is. Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear now. Okay.
I was getting worried there for a minute.
How you doing?
Well, no, fantastic, man. Sean, I wanted to say congratulations with this 100th webinar here. There is quite a couple of us, as you just mentioned, that's been here for a long time. I think that there's a lot of people that's maybe 100 live sessions attended as well. I'm not at 100, but very close to that. But congrats to them. Congratulations to them too.
Thank you.
Great. Listen, I was very happy, when I saw this about this webinar thing. As you know, with my reading project, this is one of this is my next level up to do, is to start doing the webinars with the schools, and I'm still waiting for you to launch your webinar product. When is it coming out, mate? I thought this was going to be a sale tonight, where you may be going to sell this webinar product to us, but so that is the only disappointing side of it, But
that is a sign of success when someone's disappointed that you're not actually selling them something. That's great. As soon as possible. I'm gonna, I put this together today for this session, and I thought, I really do need to make this a workshop. I am putting together, or trying to get together, a piece of software to automate webinars, and I do have a couple of things I'm going to do in that regard, but we'll see what we can put together as soon as possible. So,
great. Well, I'll keep you to that. We've been saying that for a while. But I know you've been very...
I've got so many fingers in so many pies, and My wife is often laughing at me with, "Oh, I've got to do this," and I'm jumping like my ADD is in overdrive between projects. So yeah, I'll get it done.
John, but I do have a question though on this. This was a great webinar, and what I would like to ask is, especially on the replay thing, because as when I start doing this with the schools, I could obviously do it either on live or have the recording one. Now if I do go the recording route, could I, for instance, say invite the parents at a specific school then to the webinar and say to them, okay, and when I start off, to start it off live. And then at some certain stage, like you said earlier, to have a smooth transition and then hit the play button and then actually play the webinar, or the pre-recorded one. Would you then be able to, when you do the recording or play the recording, can you answer questions live in the question box?
You kind of can. Here's the thing. Let me show you an example. And again, I'm going to have to bring up another window here. Now, if I was doing a webinar, for example, that was pre-recorded, funnily enough, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to bring up one of my Ask Sean sessions to show you kind of how you would do it. Say, for example, I've got Ask Sean 99 here. I would open this up, maybe embed it in a browser or do like QuickTime, and then this is a full screen. Okay, it's a little messed up here, but you get the idea. I would take this, I would make it full screen like this. Oh, actually you can't see that because it goes to the other screen, but something like that. I would turn off the controls so I don't have it, and then basically hide the controls and start the session. And then it would look like that. And then what I would do is, as soon as the kind of webinar part is done, I would have a splash screen behind it and then do the live questions. So you could say, okay, well, now's the questions part. Open it up and off you go. So you could do that. There is ways you can transition between those two.
Okay, but what would you suggest? I mean, rather at a specific school to invite the parents and actually do the whole thing live. Have your PowerPoint, and then open up for questions at the end. And if
you're doing to a specific group like that that's very targeted, you can then drip in little pieces of information about their school and about the area. And
yes.
So, for example, I'm in Hesperia. I might talk about the Hesperia school district and how they're letting kids down and how the schools around here are overpopulated. So I can talk to the specific problems they have in their area, and that dripping it in creates relevance and alignment, and that it's really for them. So that would help you a lot. So yeah, you can do it that way, and you get a lot of benefit doing it that way.
Okay, just one more quick question. I know there's other people who want to ask questions as well. If you, on the costing side at the moment on GoToWebinar, as you said now, you might give us that link for that $79 gem, to start off with that, because that's more in line with my budget. But what else do you need? Is there a lot of other costs to actually get going, apart from that $79 per month?
Alternatives. Really, honestly, I've tried many different systems, and the only one that's really been consistently good is GoToWebinar. There was a meeting burner that I tried.
No, but what I'm asking is that 79, or the GoToWebinar system, apart from paying that $79, is there a lot of other costs involved as well, or does that include then the whole package? You can get going with that $79. And,
oh yeah. You can. Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry, you're breaking up, so I was piecing together there. Yes, you can just get. That's all you need. All you need is a decent microphone and your computer and GoToWebinar, and you're off you go. I mean, all the Ask Sean sessions I do with just a decent microphone, I picked up this microphone on Amazon for about $100, and that's, I mean, the quality is good. Let me see, it's the A2020 microphone. This is like a $300 microphone, guys, but I think this is it. Yeah, there we go, Audio-Technica 2020. That's it right there. And
Fantastic.
yeah, so that's all you need. It's a decent microphone. You could do it with a headset mic, but a good podcasting USB microphone, and hey, you're good to go. And basically that's it. That's all you need. And you can get away with
Fantastic.
a lot.
Thank you very much. And yes, for the, you know, if you had a scotch in front of you, I would say cheers. Yes to the next 100.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Sherman. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Sean. Enjoy.
Awesome stuff. Okay, and let's see. I'm going to do like 2 or 3 more questions, and then we'll rock and roll out of here. So let me see who else has got their hand up. Okay, I'm going to go with Robert Shelley. Robert, go ahead, sir. What's your question? Hello, Robert. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, I'm going to... only people with microphones here that can speak. That's what I'm going to allow in this evening, but because otherwise it's... I could hear you typing there, for example. So let me go here. Okay, let me go to Don. Don, go ahead, sir. What's your question this evening?
Sean?
Absolutely.
Okay, I
Yeah,
didn't
I
hear
am indeed.
cut out for a second there. I was just wondering if you was working on any solutions for the Ping FM and Hello Text thing, other than what you showed tonight, if you had anything in the planning.
Not really. Unfortunately, you know, I thought, popped in my head earlier on, it's like I need to sit down with my programmers and create my own Hello Text. But there's reasons that doing a service like that failed miserably. One thing I am doing, now where did I put this blooming thing? I am working on a solution called Syndication Rockstar. Now this allows you to syndicate out to, and basically create your own syndication to Tumblr, to lots of different sites. So it's kind of along the same path. I'm hoping that will be ready within a week or so. That will allow you to syndicate to many, many different blog types. It will allow you to send via XML RPC. So in other words, you can post directly to WordPress blogs and MetaType blogs and all sorts of other blogs and create your own link network, as well as via email as well. So it's kind of an alternative. It actually does a lot. And in fact, one thing I might do now that you've said that, I might use that as part of my pitch. Hey, did you use Ping FM? Did you use Hello Text? You don't need them. Here's this tool. So that might, you've just maybe given me an idea on how to pitch that. But it's as close an alternative as you're going to get.
Okay, so is that going to be something like you can install in the background on your server or something? Or,
actually, it's a WordPress plugin. You just pop it in and off you go.
Oh, okay.
And it'll take articles. You can every post you make, it'll spin and send out and syndicate. You can grab articles from article directories, and it will spin them and send them out as well. You can put your own articles in there just for the sake of syndication and set them up and off they go. So there's lots you can do with this system. But yeah, it's a WordPress plugin. You just pop it in your server and off you go.
Okay, thank you, Sean.
You're most welcome. Okay, what I'll do is now, again, I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions here, guys, and I'll be here all week with you guys, and I know some of you are trying to hold it together for this ultra-long marathon session. And one question I'm getting a lot here, now this was a no-pitch webinar, but I'm getting asked again, how do I sign up for the Inner Circle? How do I sign up? I've been asked that about 50 times here. So if you want to sign up, okay, here's what's happening with the Inner Circle. The Inner Circle you can actually get, if you want to check it out, if you've enjoyed what we do here, we do this every week. Although this is a bit of a marathon session, it's not uncommon for us to go to an hour and a half to 2 hours with a lot of great content, which is a lot more than you'll get with most products that are like $500. But if you'd like to take a $1 trial, if you've liked what you've seen here tonight, you can actually check it out for a couple of weeks. Go to imsclink.com and then let's see, IMSC join. There you go. I'm going to put that in the chat box for everyone here, so you can see that right there. If you want to check it out, that's $1 for 2 weeks. You get full access, and then after that, it's $47 a month. But you get access to the live webinars, the Ask Sean sessions. We've got a massive download center, and in fact, you know what? This will be the time to show you a sneak peek. This is the big announcement, and I almost forgot it. So slap me. My wife says, "Okay." That was a little kind of that was a little swift reaction there. We've been working on this. This is the new Inner Circle. Now, here's the cool thing. We're not quite ready to release this. We're polishing this. We're working hard on this. We're adding a ton of stuff in here. We're having a whole load of training programs, Kickstart program, the Accelerator program, and the Elite program. These are really literally step-by-step training on how to do a number of things in internet marketing. We're adding in workshops, the special reports. We've got a media center. We're packed full of tons and tons of videos. Live training with the Ask Sean sessions. We're starting up a mastermind group as well for elite members. Expert panel interviews with literally not just me, but we've got a whole panel of experts who are masters in their markets. We've got groups. So we've got, for example, groups that specialize. Yeah, basically you can join these groups and be a part of like SEO and traffic generation, content creation, market, whatever your specific focus is. We've got groups for that. We've got forums. You can have activity streams, so you can basically see what you're doing and kind of like Twitter and talk to people back and forth. See who people, you can have instant messaging, people message you back and forth. If you've got people mentioning you and you've got a question, someone responds to you, guess what? You get alerts. We've got a ton of resources. We've got a download center with over $23,000 worth of materials and templates and resources and software and all sorts of stuff. The link tank, Skype room for elite members. We've also got a coaching program in here, all sorts of great stuff. So that's all part of the new Inner Circle, but a lot of this is also in the old Inner Circle as well. We're getting ready to launch this, and anyone who joins up right now will get moved across to the new program at the price you're paying today. So there you go. I'm not trying to pitch, but people have been asking, how do I join, how do I join? So I wanted to tell you about that and how you can get access to it as well. Okay, so let me just see. I want to grab someone else here. Let me go with Robert. Actually, Robert Shelley. Let's try Robert again. Robert, are you there, sir? Okay, guess not. Let's try one person who I know will be there. Let's go with Matthew. Matthew, go ahead, sir. What's your question this evening?
Yeah, I just had a quick one for you, Sean. I was wondering, is it still okay to use the widgets like the random search terms, popular search terms, incoming search terms, and even the flexi pages, because they all have my keyword in them, and I've got maybe 50 instances of my keyword in those 4 plugins. And is the Panda going to have any problem with that, or is that considered separate than the article?
I've not really seen much in the way of problems with that, but what I would say is trim them down, each one down to like 5 keywords. So, you know, you can change in the widget, instead of showing 50 or 20 on your page, trim it down to 5. And that way it'll show the ones that are the most active. And that's cool. Then you're not going crazy. Because if you've got an article with about 500 words in, dripping in those, they become kind of like LSI keywords for you. And that works out pretty well. You've basically got your LSI keywords on the page.
Yeah, because my Flexi Pages has my 20 articles, which has a keyword in there probably a couple times per article in the title. So it does add up a bit.
I would say split test, or just test it. Turn it off for a while, see if you have any jiggle in the search engines, a little bit of search engine jumping, and then see where it comes back, and then turn them back on. You can play around with that. Don't be afraid to experiment. but I wouldn't really see any problem with it.
Okay, Sean, and just one other real quick question. Is there any problem with local marketing keywords like, say, I want to use acne scar treatment Chicago? Do you think that's a problem having, you know, a city on the end of the keyword?
Not at all. That actually can, if you want to target a local keyword, then I certainly recommend doing that.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Sean. I really appreciate it.
Okay, excellent. Good question. Okay, well, I'm going to do one more question, and then I'm going to get out of here because, funnily enough, and there goes there goes the phone again. Funnily enough, it's my son's birthday today. So I do have to duck out of here and see that, and I excuse the phone call in the background there. So I'm going to go one more. Let me see. I'm going to pick someone completely at random. Got lots of hands up, guys. That's always good. Let me go with David Freed here. So go ahead, David. What's your question?
Okay. Well, how can I put this? Basically, first of all, I want to thank you, Sean, for being giving us a chance to be a part of this tonight. I am not a member of Inner Circle. Hope to be soon. My question really is, I'm noticing an awful lot of sites out there that are ranking very well and some in very competitive search terms, at least in the top 3, without much foundation in backlinks. Have you seen this, or can you respond or make any comment?
Absolutely. Now, I'll tell you right now, there's been a new jump in search engines. There's been a lot of weird activity going on just in the last few days. Google's rolling out a new PR update, and like every 2 weeks right now, they're releasing new revisions of Penguin and stuff like that. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on in the search engines. In fact, me and a few SEO guys have been kind of scratching our heads at Google and whatever they've got going on. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. They're trying to make things that the more authority you have, so it's not so much the number of backlinks, it's more about the quality of backlinks and the authority that your site has. So backlinks are still very, very important. The authority on those backlinks is very important. But if you spread your link profiles, if you do some really authoritative link building, you don't need as many to compete with the big boys. If you have authority articles that are well structured towards your keyword, not overly optimized, but you have good backlinks, relative backlinks, then you'll see a lot higher jumping in the search engines. And also, authority backlinks include things like government links, edu links. Those all have still massive authority, and that will help you a lot with your search engine optimization efforts. So think about that, create some link pyramids, multi-levels, and make your top-level links as authoritative as possible. Maybe do some guest posting on other blogs in your market. Again, it's a great way, that's another great way to get your foot in the door with JV partners or potential JV partners and audiences. Guest post for them. You create a rapport. That's an answering a previous question. So that way you get authority links from related blogs to yours. That will help you a lot as well. So yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on, but keep it optimized like that and you'll do pretty well.
Appreciate it very much. Happy birthday to your son. Can't thank you enough for this webinar.
Excellent. You know, we might do these every now and then just for the fun of it, because this has actually been very, very, I think, valuable. And guys, let me ask, did you learn a lot today? Let me see that in the text box. Put yes or no. Did you learn a lot today that you'll be able to apply? I really want to make sure that I'm delivering the goods, so to speak, because that's what these sessions are all about. So excellent. Oh, thank you. Good. Absolutely. Awesome. Okay. Well, guys, you know what? I'm going to wrap it up right there because I do need to go and do the family thing. So thank you very much for joining us in this kind of little 100th anniversary party. If you do want to join the Inner Circle, like I say, because I'm still getting asked about that, what the link was, I put that in the chat box, but it's imsclink.com/IMSE join. That'll take you straight over to ClickBank. It's a ClickBank product. See, $1 trial, $47 a month, but you get all this value. I mean, you just got over $5,000 worth of content, absolutely free, but we do this every single week. And a lot of the Inner Circle members, will getting lots of thumbs up from them, so because they're enjoying it that much. So you know what? There you go. That's Ask Sean session. That's the 100th one. And you know what? I'm going to pull someone on real quick, just because I see their hand up. And Jerry, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to put, because he's got his hand up, and I know he's got his hand up. Jerry, what do you think of the Inner Circle? As an Inner Circle member, what would you say about the Inner Circle? Because you've been here pretty much since the start. So what do you think?
Well, am I coming through okay?
You're coming through loud and clear.
All right. Well, before I went with you, I spent tons of money with about 5 or 6 gurus. And the funny thing was, I never made any money. Since I've been with you, I've made my first amount of money online, which was really nice. That shows that it can be done. And I know, I talk to Jim 2-3 times a week now, and I know he's made money with you. Alan's made money with you. So, you've really helped out a lot of people, and I think that's great.
Awesome. So, you know what, I'm going to let you, I know you had your hand up for a question. So what was your question? And then we'll wrap it up and get out of here.
Okay. Well, I had 2 questions. The first one is with WP Syndicator. Does that spin the text when it syndicates it out? Do you know?
I honestly don't remember. I had that tool a while ago, but because I'm creating Syndication Rockstar, I don't think it does. Or you have to use a different plugin to use it, because one of the reasons I created Syndication Rockstar was to spin the text and have a much more thorough syndication method. So I might be wrong, but I don't think it does.
So I take it would be better not to use something that just takes your text and transfers it to the Web 2.0 sites.
Yeah, I would certainly recommend against that, because again, you're going to end up with a duplicate content issue, which again, Panda really slapped down. But with that being said, one thing you should do, even if you're doing spinning of your content, is use a Google authorship plugin so that you can stamp that you are the original author of the content. That way, when Google sees it, anyone that's spun out and syndicated, they know that you're the original, and then you get the credit for it. So that's one very important aspect as well for SEO. But yeah, I wouldn't just send out unspun stuff.
Okay. The next question is dealing with our HostGator here and doing backups. Unfortunately, because of all of the computer crashes I had, I've lost my S3 secret word. Do you know any way of getting that back from Amazon? Or
Absolutely. What you do is, okay, now I've got to be careful that I don't give you my secret keyword, but go to aws.amazon.com. I had to do this the other day. And if you go to security credentials, and then it'll ask you to log in. And then I'm not going to do it because, again, it'll show you my secret one. But it'll show you your basic access, and then there's a little thing, show my secret button, or show my secret code right next to it. You click that, it'll show you the secret code.
Gotcha. That's okay. What I need. Thank you, sir.
No problem. And sorry, you were going to say something there. I don't want to cut you off. What were you going to ask there, dude?
No, that was it. That's all I needed for now. I'll talk to you later about the other stuff. It's not that important.
No problem. I'm still scratching my head with your menu on your website, so I'll try and figure that out tomorrow if I can.
No problem. Okay. You have a good one, and thank you very much.
You're most welcome. And yeah, guys, the Inner Circle, we help each other out. It's one of the best communities out there. Because if you've got a problem, we have a great community. You ask a question, someone's already solved the problem, someone helps out. Everyone helps each other out. And Jerry had a really kind of mind-bending problem, and even I had me scratching my head, so I was giving him a quick hand there. So that's what the Inner Circle's all about. Okay, guys, well, again, it's now 8:24, so 2.5 hours. Oh, my good God. Didn't know it would go this long, but hey, that's what happens with these things. You never know what the hell's going to happen on an Ask Sean session. So enjoy your evening. Thank you very much for spending it with me, and hopefully we'll do this again real soon. If you just signed up, I see a few people here signing up for the Inner Circle, so they're looking forward to the next Ask Sean session. So I will see you next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Take care. Have fun.